Hey world. So on this session, I guess I wanted to make a video, or probably a series of some good humored stuff. I guess I'm not really sure if it's meant to be taken as the authoritative Bible reference, but going into, I want to think it's astrology a bit, so having just a bit of fun with that. In regards to, there was a site that I found, and going through and reading through it, I can say that probably over 90% of that is very true, or at least it seems like it for me. I'm not sure if that's true to the other Sagittarians out there, but it's pretty much going to be kind of your pocket, the pocket edition of about the Sagittarius male, how to seduce, the do's and don'ts, some of the caveats that come with that, and you know, so pretty much it's mainly to be taken with humor, so, and a grain of salt as well. So not everything in here will absolutely be true to every Sagittarian or Sagittarian male that you may come across, but there's some basics, and it's a good reference point. But like I said, ultimately it depends on the individual and their own personal and individual experiences. But I just wanted to share some of the articles, and throw in some insight, and along with giving my personal experiences and rebuttals to the articles, and I guess my testament of whether or not you know, is it true, have I been through it, do I feel the same way, etc., or if it's one of those, that's kind of a commonality, and they can pretty much say that's true of all of certain zodiac sign, etc. But like I said, before I get into the meat of things, let me go ahead and get the disclaimer and stuff out of the way here. So pretty much watching my videos, whether consensually or not, no suing, no legal actions permitted, taking upon viewing. So with that being the case, let's go ahead and get started. So this one, I'm going to spare you a bit of everything about the zodiac for the Sagittarius male, blah blah blah, you know, and get into the specifics of things. But I was going through, and I have to say I really liked it, and it pretty much brought a smile to my face, and you know, so let me share some stuff here. I'm not sure how long this is going to be, but it might break up into some longer, a second session, but because YouTube pretty much removed my 15-minute limit, we'll see if I can fit all this in one session, however long that might be. So the topic of this one is going to be the Sagittarius man in love. The Sagittarius man is notorious for not being able to commit. He's just too independent and loves being on his own too much. He doesn't want to be tied up in a relationship because he feels it might be the end to a happy-go-lucky life he enjoys so much. This is a reason why it's hard to feel secure with him, but all of this doesn't mean that he's incapable of committing. A Sagittarius guy is one of the most honest people you can ever meet. This characteristic is probably the biggest factor why a Sagittarius is often perceived as callous and insensitive. I can pretty much say that's kind of true, at least for me. It's not like he goes just around playing with people's feelings. He doesn't say or do anything just to be blunt. He just wants to make sure things are clear from the very beginning. A Sagittarian likes laying the cards on the table. If a Sag tells you he's into you, you can take his word for it. He won't say he loves you unless he really means it. The Sagittarian can make some amazing, lasting friendships, and if he can do that, he can commit. For him, everything is about the chase, the sense of adventure he gets in chasing someone, the taste of victory when he finally gets that yes. While it's true that he gets bored easily, when he finds true love, he makes sure to work on it and at the same time enjoy it. He tries to make it as adventurous as he can and works with his partner so he won't lose the adrenaline. And although he is not known to be the best at keeping commitments, a Sagittarius is believed to be one of the most loyal lovers there is. He is kind and caring and will go a long way or even out of the way to fulfill the partner's needs. A Sagittarian is not your garden variety, white picket fence type of guy. What he's really looking for is not his better half, not someone who will make him feel whole. Instead, he's looking for someone who will become his partner in a journey full of adventure. Someone who won't lose composure with a few bumps along the way. When he's in love, he's very generous, showering his partner with lavish presents, and he is very attentive. He is also a very passionate lover and a romantic. He can make his partner feel like she's the most interesting woman there is. He would be very attentive and very sweet. He'd drop everything to talk to her, put some music on, turn off the phone, do long cuddles in the sofa, stare at her, and interrupt everything she says for a long, sweet kiss. Bottom line is that no matter how notorious the Sagittarius is for being a flirt, when it comes down to it, he will do everything he can for the love of his life. So it's only fair to meet him halfway and give him what he needs, because it's not like he's asking for the impossible. All he needs is a little understanding and a lot of adventure. So, at least in regards to that article, and how it pertains to me personally, I can say that pretty much over 90% of that is pretty accurate. Let's see here, the points that I don't really agree with, if any, is, let's see here. It's, I really don't think I have anything to disagree with in that. So that's pretty much, it sums it up about the Sagittarius man in love. Now, as far as he's not necessarily looking for his better half or to feel whole. I won't say that's not necessarily the case. It is, but at the same time, I do feel that, I do want a life partner to enjoy the adventures of life with. So, getting that article out of the way, let's go to the next one here. As far as how to seduce a Sagittarius man, let's pretty much go through and see some of the traits and see if there's anything that I disagree with. So, how to seduce a Sagittarius man. If you dated a Sagittarius guy, you know that he is complex and hard to catch. These men born under the zodiac Sagittarius are very approachable because they are naturally friendly people, but getting their attention is different from keeping it. Whether we like it or not, the man with the sign represented by the archer or the centaur will follow the next thing that will catch their attention. Being a dual sign, half man, half horse, a Sagittarian tends to have a double personality too. One is philosophical and idealistic, which is the man. The other is wild and carefree, the horse. Given that one must be ready to come across both personalities and be able to handle it before she plans to seduce him. Sagittarius traits. A Sagittarian is easily attracted to a woman that's fun and full of energy and sex appeal. I can say that's absolutely 100% true. 100% true. So what you need to do is dress flirty, not slutty. I think I've made a video on that, on pretty much the fine line between a fine man, woman, etc. and the difference between, you know, absolute sensuality and just plain hoe bag, you know, and that slutty and that skanky appeal dressing, you know. So there is an absolute difference. Put on some makeup and light perfume, laugh, look fun, and have fun. This will get his attention right away and will make him fall for you. Be warm and friendly towards him and his friends. His friends are very important to him, and this will make him feel you accept him as a whole. The Sagittarius man can also be considered a knight in shiny armor. Generally, he will want to reach out and help and fight for a worthy cause. But other than hanging out with fun people, he can't help but get involved with a damsel in distress. Note that this is a part of him that has a dual personality or varied taste. He may feel he has the responsibility to make things right for someone. This is the alpha male in him acting out. On the contrary, he doesn't like women who cannot stand for themselves. This is where it can get complex. Do you act like someone in need or someone who doesn't need anyone? A little bit of both. You don't want to act like a weakling who can't fend for yourself. You need to have enough confidence to let him see you do and have your moments, but you can always bounce back on your feet. Moreover, the centaur is a physical person, and it bores him to sit around doing nothing and seeing the same thing. You need to be able to offer him something else constantly. So as far as that part, you know, that duality, that damsel in distress, I do say that for me, that's absolutely very true. You know, not sure how to put it, but you know, seriously, if I do see a girl that, you know, is kind of a bit in trouble and whatnot, you know, I don't mind going up and being the first to stand up and, you know, offering some assistance, but at the same time, you know, grow tired of seeing someone that's supposedly acting all weak and meek and constantly reliant on others. I do like, you know, a very strong, confident woman, you know, so it's, I don't know, it's just something about that confidence out there that, you know, I know what I want kind of a deal. That's very attractive, very attractive. Let's see here. Seducing the Sagittarius guy. Don't just go for the usual things people do on a date. That's no way to turn on the ultra. If you want him hooked to you, engage him in physical activities. Sagittarius love sports and outdoor events, so plan on a weekend out of town or do activities together. Some of the things you might want to try are gambling, camping, horseback riding, wakeboarding, or even bungee jumping and skydiving. If you really want to impress him, be impulsive too. Even if you have planned to do one activity, it wouldn't hurt to switch to a different one or add it up if you can still take it. He would love the spontaneity. Do some of these and he will surely bite the hook, line and sinker. One thing to keep in mind is that the Sagittarius are direct people. You might not need a lot of seduction to get him to jump into bed with you. Most of them may even consider sex as a sport. Be aggressive and tell him what you want. You might want to refrain from mentioning anything about a commitment yet, because this will make him run for the nearest exit. Maybe for some people that might be true. For me, automatically mentioning that you want a commitment isn't necessarily a run for the door kind of thing, at least for me. I will say that a lot of the activities, the indoor skydiving, I probably feel a bit safer with that one first before jumping 15,000 feet to possible near death if a parachute doesn't deploy. So, yeah, I love outdoor events. Let's see here. Know what his dating rules are. In every relationship, it's very important to know where you stand. Luckily, being straightforward people, Sagittarius don't go through a lot of phases before he tells you what the score is. But you also need to know what his rules are when it comes to serious dating as opposed to casual dating. Do not force him into going into a serious relationship if he isn't ready or does not want to. This would only push him away even more. Give him a little freedom, and before you know it, he will come back to you. Again, I don't know if that's true for every single Sagittarius male out there, but I know for me that next to the last point is definitely very true. Don't force him into going into a serious relationship if he isn't ready or doesn't want to. This would only push him away even more. Now, there's a difference between that and saying a woman that's very aggressive and taking the initiative on things. So there's a total difference on that. I can tell you that I do welcome the aggressiveness and the initiative. So definitely that's welcome. Let's see here. I'm just gonna do a quick scroll to see if there's any of the responses here, because there were some of the comments were pretty funny as well, or true. So trying to add to the entire thing here. Let's see here. Give me just a moment as I scroll through. See here. So this one is by Eduardo. He goes, "Hi ladies, I'm a Sagittarius man, and the general traits of personality are really described above. It's true that we are flirty but faithful. I come across a lot of temptations, but like to remain faithful, offering it to my girlfriend who is a Capricorn. To get one Sagittarius, I give you some hints. 1. Invite him to visit a park or a place where there is nature around and some time. Stop for a drink, one that might be coffee, with some liquor and a slice of cake. Sit near him, move towards him during the conversation, smile and laugh. Plan also to go watch a movie and start planning holidays that involve travel. After steps 1 through 3, or even just 1, I assure you that he would approach you and start touching you. Smiles. Good luck, girls. We Sagittarians love to love and are very easy to live with." We do love to love. I don't know if we're easy to live with. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty common and straightforward, and I can agree with that, Definitely love to go visit the park, go to Starbucks, but they're kind of expensive for their coffee. Just some place to sit down, have a drink or something, and talk. Let's see here. This one is from Carmen. "Hi, I've been married to a Sag for 20 years, and it's not been easy. Since I'm a very control freak and everything has to be planned at all time, I still have to yank his chain and bust out the dip at the same time. I have no idea how we've lasted since I found how free Sags are. I've done everything possible to scare him, ruin our relationship, have not been successful. I think they like a good chase. Let's see here. This one is from Tasha. I'm a Leo female and I've married a Sagittarius when I was 21. They are very nice men who will not tolerate clingy women. You have to have things going on for yourself, or you will find that they will be out chasing the interesting women who does. It's that simple. A Sagittarian wants a woman who can teach him a thing or two. They will do what it takes to make it work. My Sag gets bored very easily, so it's nice to always suggest something for him, as he will do it. They are also very passionate and expect you to be as well. Sag men like to have an open end to their future, so don't have his whole life planned out for him, or he will run. At least don't discuss anything permanent, because they have a short attention span, which will bore them with you if you do. Just talk about your big dreams and aspirations. He will then be happy that you finally have something to talk about. He also doesn't like an emotionally weak woman, so hide the emotions. Make him believe he is the emotional one, and he will love you. Really, really love you. I'm not really sure if that's true, but I would say, it's not a problem to have a vulnerable moment every now and then, and to show that you are weak, at least vulnerably, but not all the time. And that is true. I don't know if I need to be the one that seems like I'm emotional all the time, but it's true that I do want to learn. I'm a lifetime scholar, and whatever I can learn, I definitely enjoy that. So it's good if the significant other can definitely teach me something. So see here. This one was by an Aquarius. They do not like to be tied down. Open the gate and they will run, but always come back if you give them freedom. If you want to tie them down, they will never come back. So if you are looking for a relationship, don't mention it to him. Let him mention it to you. See, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that one, but like I said, to each his or her own, and it's taken on an individual basis with a grain of salt. See here. Have fun. Don't get too sensitive, and make them feel special in every way. They will stick around. I do believe they are extremely sexual, so you better know what you're doing behind closed doors. Makes me smile. Tickle me right there. See here. This one is by Nelly. I'm falling for a Sag man. By the way, I'm a Virgo. I do agree with the above description. I do think that they want everything their way and at their pace. It is really hard for him to open up and tell me how he really feels about me. We've been seriously dating for about 2 months, and lately he keeps asking me during sex how I really feel about him, which to me indicates that he may be afraid to fully give in. I've approached serious talks with him regarding where we stand, and he just tells me he wants to take things slow, even though he claims that he likes me very much, which I do believe. I just feel he's just holding on to me as much as he can because of the amazing sexual connection that we have, and which he claims he has never connected with anyone sexually as he has with me. But in all, he has me so confused I can't put together his real intentions towards me. Any advice, suggestions, if it helps? This guy is 38 years old, and I don't know that the older they get, the more they are ready to settle down. Let's see. Alright, the last one for this topic, and this is by Jules. Now, I think there was a comment in this one that I'm going to elaborate on, because I feel that this is pretty much getting to the heart and grain of things, at least for me. Let's see here. Going on 24 minutes. So, alright. Jules mentioned that great site. I'm a Sagittarius and Aquarius. I think, hold on, is he saying that he's a Sagittarius involved with Aquarius? And I must admit that there is much truth to all of the positive comments made about the Sag male. As for the negative things, those aspects come from either Scorpio influence, Capricorn influence, or the person's moon sign, in which some cases we most identify with. The only negative aspect to our signs are jealousy and complete disinterest in a person to whom we are not attracted to. That doesn't mean that we don't make good friends to the not our type bunch. It just means that we will not show or return any bit of the wanted romantic affections if we are not interested. Basically, Sagittarius men are the poster children for he's just not that into you if he's not. On the other hand, for those that have a Sagittarius attention, he will most definitely show you that he's into you, and as well he will tell you, because some Sags have been exposed to unavoidable bad luck in life and love. They will tend towards several partners and keep their options open for two reasons. One, if he's been so jaded that the proverbial can of worms has been opened and it's going to take a Mack truck to settle him back down, or two, he naturally has trust issues and struggles with jealousy and wants to know that you want and need him. Let's see here. That's why Eduardo was so spot on when he said move towards him in the conversation. Only if you can tell he is into you. Otherwise, you seat next to him and physically show interest, even minutely, you'll rarely see him again. You'd never see him again if he weren't such a nice and kind being. I'm not sure if I read that part right or wrong there. See here. Only if you can tell he is into you. Otherwise, you sit next to him and physically show him. Okay. The fire element in Sagittarius fuels his anger if he really gets furious, and also fuels his romance. It is a guarantee that a true Sag has the hots for you. His blood will always be boiling whenever he's around you, whether he tries to hold back or not. He will often have visions of you two intimately during any given moment, conversation, or meeting. For those of you whom have been lucky enough to garner the Sag's emotional attention, but are hesitant because you don't feel quite mutually, here's the lowdown. There's nothing better. A true Sagittarius man will give you the shirt off of his back and will go to great lengths to please his love interest in every way, in and out of the bedroom. If the Sag male loves you and is assured you love him, it's like setting brush fire to an entire planet. His affection will burn, burn, burn for you. He feels hotter the more he knows that he can have what he craves. It's a charge stemming from the good nature of him. It makes him feel right, complete, and in order. Take inventory on your emotions and see if you can mesh your personality with his. A most important thing to remember is Sagittarius is extremely sensitive and good. Though they have a hard and bad side that had to be brought out by negative opposing forces or people, they are indeed good, and if you are ever hurtful in your treatment with them, words or otherwise, their affections could dissipate with a single action. Not out of meanness, but out of hurt. A Sag male cannot see himself with a person who would or could ever hurt them deeply. An apology and admission of guilt could repair the damage in time. Now, for me, that entire comment from Jules is absolutely very profound, and I can almost say that, damn, that was probably my twin writing the same thing about me. And I mean, going through and highlighting some of the actual key points, and I'm over here telling you, and I'm getting rid of the brain work and the hard mental work out of it. And I want to say that this applies to most of the population of Sagittarian men, but even more so and true on my case is the statements here that because some Sags have been exposed to unavoidable bad luck in life and love, they will tend towards several partners and keep their options open for two reasons. One, if he's been so jaded that the proverbial can of worms has been opened and it's going to take a Mack truck to settle him back down. You know, I can say that for my life experiences, that's definitely been pretty much the factor. Not necessarily the second reason of having natural trust issues, but yeah, definitely been jaded a lot in life with a lot of bad luck, unavoidable in life and love. And so that's definitely a true aspect there. And the second one is, let's see here, I definitely truly agree with a true Sagittarius male will give you the shirt off of his back and will go to great lengths to please his love interest in every way, in and out of the bedroom. If the Sag male loves you and is assured you love him, you know, pretty much it's the passion and the burning desire he has for you, whether emotionally, lustfully, you know, whatever, it's constantly always going to be there. And it's definitely true, you know, that he feels harder, and the more he knows that he can have what he craves, it's a charge stemming from the good nature of him. It makes him feel right, complete, and in order. In the next statement of take inventory of your emotions, and I guess not so much to see if you can measure your personality, but take control of your emotions. And for me, that goes with a lot of mouth. You know, coming from a Vietnamese family and whatnot, and tell you how from my previous videos and confessions of, you know, please keep the psychotic bitching down to a minimum. You know, if there's anything that you want to ruin any hope of future relationships, either in your life or as a part of mine or something, is that psychotic bitching right there. And the next key thing, absolute key thing, is that if you are ever hurtful in your treatment with them, words or otherwise, their affections could dissipate with a single action. Not out of meanness, but out of hurt. A Sag male cannot see himself with a person who would or could ever hurt them that deeply. You know, and I'll say that that is absolutely so fucking true in my case, you know. And I guess I'll go more into that probably in the Dark Truth series when I start to make that. But as a brief intro into that, you know, as much as I probably claim to want a woman with like all these hundreds and thousands of characteristics and traits and everything. You know, bottom line, getting down to it, and probably a handful of the qualities to accept, find, and desire. With that being the case, it's pretty much not wanting the basics and the simplicities of what anyone else wouldn't want in their significant other. But as far as any problems or complications that arises out of that, that one statement probably can't be no truer is, like I said, of if you're ever hurtful in your treatment with them, words or otherwise, their affection could dissipate with a single action, not out of meanness, but out of hurt. A Sag male cannot see himself with a person who would or could ever hurt them deeply. So next we'll go into the do's and don'ts when with a Sagittarius. So here, I don't think there were any comments on that one. That was pretty much worth reading. So do's and don'ts with a Sagittarius. While we are fully aware that each species born bear a different zodiac attached to his or her fates, we couldn't deny the fact that to accept the bad points of someone will still be quite difficult. We do, after all, have both positive and negative characteristics which are sometimes uniquely ours. If you know someone who is a Sagittarius and you find it hard to deal with them, you might want to read on to understand why they behave the way that they do, and you should play along. But if you're a Sagittarius yourself, well, there's no need to be all defensive if you find some strange facts about who you really are, because we will plainly lay down these cards for you to ponder on. What we have here are guidelines for harmonious relationships with a Sagittarius. These are the simple do's and don'ts that we have to remember when faced with a Sagittarius' company. Don't be boring. Sagittarius love people having wide-ranging minds that could burst without warning. They are great conversationalists and could talk for hours without any of your input in the conversation and still go on without batting a lash. You really don't want to just stay still and hear them chit-chat away, because at some point their overwhelming brilliance could render you witless. You know, I would say that I definitely love a woman that can keep a conversation, keep my mind actively engaged. And there's been a phrase that's been online, I don't know who coined it, but at least for me it's definitely true of seduce my mind, then you can have my body. Not that I'm aware of anyone that's particularly after my body, you know, but definitely it's true with the seduce my mind part. Let's see here. Do think extremes. When you're stuck in an island with a Sagittarius, not that that happens often, don't expect him or her to soak in a corner. They dislike being idle, and all that they could ever think of is how on earth they could spend every single second of their lives using their curiosity to answer all of the questions that they may happen to have in their restless minds. Give a Sagittarius a gigantic crossword puzzle. Don't be surprised if they wouldn't jump for joy like some kid rather than roll it up and hit you in the face with it. Or maybe even if you're totally scared of heights, invite him or her for some hardcore bungee jumping on a cliff maybe. Just prepare yourself if he or she would suddenly consider you their instant best friend forever when you pass your own test.